Hello, everyone, and good morning or good afternoon, depending on which class is watching this. So today we are trying something a little new. I know that you guys are watching me on the TV teaching this while I'm standing in the classroom, but I want to try something a little bit different where you guys watch me complete the notes on TV real quick. I haven't decided if I'm going to make this into a TED Ed activity yet. So if you're just watching this like a normal video, then no worries. If you are doing this as a TED Ed, make sure you hit all the questions afterwards. The reason why we're doing it this way is because I want to test it out, see how well watching me teach you on the TV like this works for you guys keeping up with notes, because there is a possibility that you might see this a few more times this school year. So today our learning goal is I can describe the meaning of a point on a scatter plot in context. You should have this written down in your notes already. So I can describe the meaning of a point on the scatter plot in context. This should be really simple. You guys already should know how to describe what a point means on a graph, but we're just going to go into it a little bit more today. So scatter plots are made up of many individual data points. What do each of those points represent? So our first example is a giant panda lives in a zoo. What does the point on the graph tell you about the panda? So the point says 3682, but we need to figure out what those numbers mean. 3682 what? The panda eats 36 strawberries and 82 apples. And that's when you need to look at the labeling on your graph. So your X value is age in months. So the X value is the age of the panda in months, and the Y is the weight of the panda bear in kilograms. It's the weight of the panda bear in kilograms. So we know that points are written X comma Y. So the first number is the X value, the age of the panda in months. So 36 is the age of the panda. The panda is 36 months old. The Y, or the second number, is going to correspond with the Y value, the Y labeling. So that is the weight in kilograms, and our Y value is 82. So the panda weighs 82 kilograms. So you want to look at the number or the point. Sometimes you won't have a number given to you with the points. And you need to make sure that you're paying attention to the labeling. You cannot give context if you don't know what we're talking about. Again, if we were talking about apples and pears, that would not show on this graph. This graph is showing age and weight. Okay, our second one says an ice cream stand collected data on the temperature and the number of customers over time. So notice that the temperature is the X value and the number of customers is the Y value. It says put a circle around the data point that represents the day it was 72 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So it wants us to circle when it was 72 degrees outside. So we want to come down to our temperature and look for the number 72 and circle any point that's on this line for 72, and it's just this one right here. And it's 72 degrees out, I circled that point. The second step says put a square around the day when the stand had the most number of customers. So put a square when it had the most number of customers. Well, the number of customers is on the Y. So we want to figure out what is the highest point on the graph. And that is the highest point, looks like it's at 75 customers. So I want to put a square around it. If I'm looking at the points that are the highest up, that means I'm looking at the most number of customers. If I'm looking at the point that's furthest away, that means I'm looking at the highest temperature. Why might the ice cream stand want to collect and visualize this data? There are many reasons, but I know most people, the warmer it is outside, the more likely they want to get ice cream. And if you notice, there's almost kind of like, it almost goes up. So as the temperature goes up, the number of customers kind of go up more. So they wanted to see One of the things that I thought about was they want to see whether the weather affects the number of customers. Let me change that. To see if the weather affects or effects. Guys, you know I'm not good at this. Affects or effects. Cause and effect. I don't know. You get the point. Whether the weather affects the number of customers. And like I said, I would say that it probably does. As the temperature goes up, you see that these points are further and further up. Now, obviously, on the hottest day wasn't the most number of customers, but it also wasn't all the way down here. It'd be weird if we saw a point down here, because then that would totally mess us up. But it does start to go up a little bit. We know that it's not crossing this line, and it's staying kind of in like this direction, kind of going up a little bit. So I would say that the weather probably does affect the number of customers. Okay, lastly, our summary question. Describe a strategy to determine what a single point on a scatter plot means. So we're just trying to tell what does it mean? Well, we knew to circle this because that's where the temperature was 72. We knew to square this because that's when there was the most number of customers. We figured this out because we figured out that the X was the age and the Y was the weight. So the best strategy to determine what a single point means is to look at the X-axis labeling. I apologize, my grammar is not correct here. And the X value of the point. Then look at the Y labeling and the Y value of the point. So just as an example, if I wanted to figure out what this point meant, well, let me choose a different one. Let me choose this one here. I would look at my X-axis. It's normally better to look at your X-axis first because that's our independent. So when the weather, when the temperature is 68 degrees Fahrenheit, the number of customers was just under 45, maybe looking like about 43 customers. So when the temperature is 68 degrees, there's about 43 customers, and that's what that point there means. Okay, everyone, we are going to continue to work on a Desmos on this today and do some practice with these points and the robots activity. I'm also going to ask you guys what you think about watching this video and quickly watching me do these notes and following along with this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Oh.